Well, the one thing I can say about Leigh Whannell is he knows how to stretch a budget. I guess that's a good thing. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Wolfman, the newest film from director Leigh Whannell. Okay, so Leigh Whannell brings us a new adaptation of the Wolfman franchise. Of course, this is based off a classic monster movie from the 1940s. Wolfman stars Christopher Abbott as an individual who's a father and, of course, a husband. He takes his family to his old house because his father has died, who he's kind of grown apart from. There was a very kind of tumultuous history. And in the process, they are attacked by an unknown creature. And because of, if you've seen the trailer, Christopher Abbott's character is basically infected by this creature, and he starts to become the creature himself. And it's basically a movie about a wolf. A man who starts to form into an ungodly creature of the night in a lot of respects. But it's a lower budgeted film from Blumhouse that is directed by Leigh Whannell, who's known for stretching budgets. And after his Invisible Man, it seems like this was a perfect choice for Leigh Whannell. So there you go. So I was excited to see this movie. I love Invisible Man. I love Upgrade. I love what Leigh Whannell does. He's very good at, being cheap on the fly. He's very good at directing. So Wolfman, even though the trailer became super annoying because it was on every single movie that you ever watched in the last 6 months, I still had anticipation for this movie, to be fairly honest. I was looking forward to it. It is a January movie, so you have to have a little bit of trepidation, but Leigh Whannell is a good director. I have a lot of faith. I know this had a different actor involved, but Christopher Abbott's a pretty decent actor. Julia Garner. Matilda Firth plays the daughter. It looked like a movie that was going to be a lot of fun. It's an hour and 47 minutes. It's very tight. So for my honest review of this movie, I hate to say it, but I was really disappointed in this movie. Yes, it's very visceral. Yes, it's very violent, like Leigh Whannell is known for doing. He is the guy who created Saw with James Wan, but it's a movie that I think the story is really haphazardly done. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. It starts out pretty strong, but it's only an hour and 47 minutes. And I think because of its budget, I think because of what Leigh Whannell is attempting to do, like he always does, I just don't think the movie's that interesting, to be fairly honest. I think the idea of the father passes on the legacy to the son, and how the problems of the son that this movie is portraying, and how he doesn't feel like he's a good father, and all that stuff is what Leigh Whannell is good at doing. But the story itself has got to hold up. You can't just rely on the visuals and the aesthetics and the visceral experience. You have to have a good story. And that's what made The Invisible Man, that's what made Upgrade so interesting, is because the stories were interesting. The idea of a woman who is been manipulated by her abusive husband, and the kind of effects that takes place in Invisible Man should portray as something similar into what Wolfman is trying to do. But once again, the opening is really strong. I really liked it. And then when it gets to the present day stuff, I just don't feel it holds up at all. I don't feel like Julia Garner is very good in this movie. I don't feel like Christopher Abbott's very good in this movie. I think, Christopher Abbott has to do a lot because he's transforming into, quote unquote, the Wolfman, because that's what the movie's about. But there are things that are said in this movie. There are things that are done in this movie that don't pay off very well. The story feels like it's missing like a half hour worth of movie. And I think the movie it has a lot to say, but it just doesn't do it very well. I think it's a movie that is trying to go many places. And I think in the end, what the movie really does and what the movie really says is poorly executed, to be fairly honest. It actually has a couple of twists in this movie that are interesting, but are not well executed. I think when you go into the Wolfman's mode, like you see him from his side of the view, I think that's really fascinating. But how we get there, how quickly this movie runs, the fact that it only takes place over one single night, I just don't think the movie works. I really don't. I don't think there's any chemistry between Julia Garner and Christopher Abbott. I think the young girl tries as hard as she can, but once again, she's put in a storyline that just feels like so used before, and it's such a shame because it's probably one of my most disappointed movies of the year. Just on the simple fact that it could have been so good, it could have been so interesting, so unique for a monster movie with what Whannell is used to doing. But it just doesn't capture the magic. It doesn't utilize the magic, and therefore I just found it really disappointing. I really did. I think it's violent. I think sometimes the violence is a little too violent for violence sake. It doesn't really feel interesting in how they use it. I think it's a movie that has so much potential and just falls by the wayside. And I think in the end, to kind of conclude this review, I think it's a movie that is definitely a January movie, which is such a shame because this is a perfect, movie to come out this time of year. It'll make a pretty decent amount of money for Blumhouse and, of course, Leigh Whannell, who will get another movie. But I think in the end, I just didn't really like this movie. I really didn't. I think it was a huge disappointment, and therefore, I really don't know what else to say. It's a movie that had a lot of potential. It's a movie that could have been really unique and really interesting and kind of goes by the wayside pretty quickly. And once again, it moves so quickly and moves so dramatically into the plot of the story in like a lot of haphazardly ways that it just isn't very good. So that's how I feel. I think the score is pretty good. I think the visual effects, the makeup are pretty good, but I think the overall story kind of sucks. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that'll be my take on Wolfman, which is now in theaters. Thank you as well for watching my review. I do appreciate it. But in the comments below, what do you think of Leigh Whannell's Invisible Man and Upgrade and all that stuff? Are you looking forward to Wolfman? Did you see it? Did you like it? Just be aware there might be spoilers in the comments, even though it's not really that much spoilers in the movie. But with that said, thank you so much. So there you go. So anyways, with that said, if you like what you see on this video, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.